Good morning. I'm Mary Ellen Morgan, and for the next 22 days, I will be your ministerial intern. Would you join me in the spirit of prayer and reflection? Spirit of life and love, our minds are stayed on freedom today, especially today. We are watching our country as it wrestles with the very notion of freedom, freedom for all. We hold freedom to be a sacred testament, and we hold it close as the very nature of our life and collective liberation. Will you join me in the silence as we ponder freedom in our lives?
Your order of service says that I would have a reflection, but unfortunately, I didn't quite have the freedom to write one this week because my school year has 7 days left and my time is very unfree. So I'm reading a poem, which I really enjoyed reading, so I think you will enjoy it as well. Cindy Comes to Hear Me Read by Jill McDonough. Cindy, not her real name, I met her in prison, and people in prison, I give the fake names. I taught her Shakespeare. Remember her frown, wide eyes, terror of getting things wrong. Her clear, arguable thesis on Desdemona's motives, Desdemona's past. The last days were hard on her, it taking visible work to see things could be worse. Imagine, I did. But now she's out. In jewelry and makeup, new clothes, haircut she chose and paid for. We hugged. We never hugged. It's not allowed. On the outside, you can hug whoever you want. She told me she has an apartment now, a window, an ocean view. She has a car, she told me, and we both cracked up. The thought of it, wild, as far-fetched then as when you're a kid playing grown-up, playing any kind of house. She has a job. She drives there in traffic. Each day, she sees the angry people, sweet, silly people, mad, God bless them, at traffic, at other cars. She laughs, she told me, laughs out loud alone in her car. People around her angry as toddlers. Whole highways of traffic, everybody at the work of being free. Thank you.
A funny thing happened on the way to this sermon. I'd finished my sermon on Friday, and as is my habit, I slept on it. And the next morning, I got up and looked at it, tweaked it a little bit, and was about to copy it from my Word document into a Google Doc so that I could send it to Brian and he could look it over. So I highlighted all the text, and instead of hitting Control-C, I hit Control-V. And many bad words were said, none of them theological. I just want you to know, it was the best sermon I had ever written. But we will never know now, will we? So then I realized I had the freedom to rewrite this for you. And so it is. Freedom. It's a hard thing to describe because it's a concept. it's ephemeral. You can't hold it in your hands like a physical thing. You can only describe it, or if you don't have it, you can point to someone who has something you don't, which represents freedom to you. Our worship topic this month is living love through the practice of freedom. I never thought you had to practice freedom. I always thought you either had it or you didn't. Thinking about how to practice this and that it's a testament to the love we have for the world around us is a new concept for me. I promise not to make this reflection political, as I have with every sermon since the election, but this is difficult because freedom is at the very heart of Unitarian Universalism, and it's so wrapped up with the political. And besides that, it's in our faces all the time right now. But let's look at the spiritual aspect of it and how it has shaped us as people of faith. As I've said from this pulpit, freedom is in our very DNA as Americans. The Puritans, our UU forebears, gave up everything to attain a level of religious freedom they couldn't have in England. Our Unitarian and Universalist ancestors have always been at the forefront of freedom movements, fighting for abolition, civil rights. Members of our faith worked in the underground during World War II and helped Jewish refugees escape to the United States. Many of us are standing on the front lines today, working to protect migrants and our LGBTQ folks across the country. Freedom from want, from fear, from chaos. Some people are more free than others by virtue of their wealth and privilege. For example, white men in this country over women and people of color. Some try to control the level of freedom, voting rights, and where people can live. As people of faith, we've worked to assure people's right to freedom and to help establish or reestablish their freedoms. Some people's freedoms come at the cost of others. And we haven't always had a stellar record on this front. We were involved in the Indian residential schools. Not our proudest moment. Liz's poem talks about a woman who was in prison with no freedom, whose life was very controlled. Now that she's out of prison, she laughs when she sees people getting angry driving through traffic and getting frustrated over people or situations that seem to be impinging on their freedoms. She has a different perspective of what freedom is now that she knows what life looks like when you have very little of it. People who are controlled and have very little freedom will find ways to exert the freedoms they have. Slaves in the South whose very lives were completely controlled, except on Sundays, when they could attend their own churches, would laugh and sing and dance and express themselves in ways they couldn't any other day of the week. Those in concentration camps could still have the freedom of their imaginations and were free to give up their food to others. Women will give up their freedom in abusive relationships to protect their children. People in controlling or horrendous situations will change their perspectives in order to remain safe. Many people cannot see their own opportunities and remain where they are because freedom seems impossible. In his State of the Union address in 1941, Franklin Delano Roosevelt outlines the four freedoms: freedom to worship as we choose, freedom of expression, freedom from want, from fear. Our anti-racism and anti-oppression multiculturalism discussion prompt this month, prepared by Brian and Susie Idzik, talked about changing our perspective, looking at freedom from and changing it to freedom to. How would that change how we see the world and react to protect others' freedoms? Well, I know I said I wasn't going to make this political, but too much is happening today. ICE raids in Los Angeles are threatening our freedoms and the right to free speech and peaceful assembly. How many of you watched Good Night and Good Luck last night on CNN? I'm reminded that Edward R. Murrow believed that our freedom depended on finding and telling the truth. As George Clooney stated after the broadcast, we need to challenge people with more power and defend those who have less. As people of faith, we long for freedom for ourselves and others, and we have and will work to assure it. When people are controlled and not allowed to be free and equal, it rankles us. We appreciate the freedom to believe freely, and I promise you that the people sitting around you in this sanctuary who hold different beliefs than you do, spiritual beliefs, and that's what makes us so different from other mainline Protestant religions. We can love alike and not think alike. We center all our values in love, and the freedom we cherish is at the very heart of this salvific religion. May we always seek to set others free, to work to establish equality and dignity in all human relationships, and to know that we, as a people, will gather and marshal our forces to work for the collective liberation of all. To the glory of life.